If you're one of those people who wakes up unmotivated and feeling lost with where they are in life and what they're doing, this video is for you. Because in this video, I've decided, just while I'm sitting out here, that we're going to speak about the fastest way to separate from the masses and stand out as an individual. Now, I happen to see this as the foundation, right, for a better, more fulfilling life in all realms of endeavor, whether that be internal or external. This is going to make a massive impact on your business, social status, respect from others, dating and relationships, and most importantly, your self-image. Let me ask you something. Are you actually choosing your life right now? Or are you just going along with whatever everyone else is doing? Or whatever you're expecting everyone else to expect of you? Let me make something super clear, right? In my opinion, average, it's not an identity. It's simply a pattern of behavior, right? I call it, and I refer to it as herd mentality, like the sheeps and cows in a herd. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I think I'm just going to say it. The herd has a shit mentality, like a real shit one, right? The herd, they avoid discomfort at all cost, which means they pick the convenient option. And most of the time that leads to waiting to feel ready before ever doing anything. That's like the biggest mistake you can make. Just waiting to not take action, right? Like, I mean, what else do? They copy what everyone else is doing instead of committing to their own standard, right? So being average isn't really stupidity. It's refusing to separate yourself. It's like following every trend, being terrified of judgment. It's waiting for approval and comfort at the exact same time. And if you're doing what everyone else is doing, I think you have to ask yourself, what actually makes me different, right? Because here's the truth. Everyone wants to be different, right? Everyone says they want more. Internalize this. Everyone says they want more. More money, a better body, right? More respect. But almost no one is willing to separate, okay? You don't become different by wanting more, okay? You don't become different by wanting more. You become different by refusing what everyone else accepts. Drifting feels comfortable. Separation, it feels lonely. That's the truth. Separation does feel lonely. That's why most people never do it. Once I understood that, I think everything changed for me. So, I guess over the years, I've realized that the rule of separation is simple, right? You don't become different by accidents. You become different by design, sculpting your own character, right? Separation that happens in layers. What you refuse, firstly. You separate by what you don't participate in, the distractions, the comfort, the habits everyone else calls normal, right? What else? What you commit to, secondly. You choose discipline rather than just drifting. Choose consistency. If you set yourself out to do something, do it consistently, right? That's the only way to ever accomplish anything. Put in the reps, okay? You choose to do the boring thing long enough for it to compound, right? And I think, what's your purpose? You go after things most people won't, right? Hard goals, uncomfortable growth, long-term mastery. What you pursue matters. And finally, who you become, right? Because real separation isn't just external. It's the identity that you choose for yourself. It's becoming the type of person who doesn't drift, the type of person who raises his own standards, right? The type of person who doesn't need the herd's approval to move. Most people only chase the outcome. I think that's where everyone's getting stuck. But the separation, it starts long before the achievement ever will. It starts with a decision and a commitment. Let me tell you guys actually a little bit about me and what I've done. Because none of this matters if you don't know anything about me, right? So 5 years ago, when I was 15 years old, figuring all this out for myself, and when I learned this philosophy of separation, that I had to make that decision, okay? I did about 5 things that I thought would benefit me the most, and that I used to try and make the separation. What was the first one? Yeah, I quit video games cold turkey, right? I decided they no longer fit into my standards. I was spending an awful amount of time on them, and I actually wanted to use my time more effectively to pursue separating myself. I also included television with this. So over the last 5 years, I've watched and played fork all video games. And I mean, it wasn't simple. I just decided one day, let me sell my Xbox, and I sold it. No regrets, no looking back. And that was that. Never played again. Then, now that I had more time on my hands, I started doing all sorts of courses online. Obviously, I wanted to make money, right? So I did AI courses, crypto courses, and from those, lots of failures came. I was young, didn't know what I was doing. Nevertheless, I'm grateful. Then I started boxing, but I didn't really start boxing for the skill. I actually started for the mentality. I wanted that mentality that fighters had. And 5 years later, consistently attending training, I've had 10 amateur fights, going actually onto my next one next weekend, and another one in the next month. So very excited. This year I'm also going to nationals in my country for boxing. And I started boxing while I was still a fatty and depressed. Boxing really helped me fix those two things. And my coach then told me, fix your eating. And I listened to him. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not going to eat the shit everyone else eats. I'm going to go from junk to the real deal, right? And time moves so fast, guys. Time moves so quickly. I mean, look at it. We had New Year's just the other day. It's almost March, right? And looking back at these 5 years, they've gone fast. And 5 years later, I'm very happy with my progress. Oh wait, that was only 4. The 5th thing I set out to do was get a 6-pack, right? And I did. I got a 6-pack. And I swear life gets so easy when you go from fat to jacked. Yeah. But actually, I'm going to bring this up again now. From my own experience over these last 5 years, I think it's simple. The fastest, most undeniable way to break out of average and separate is to build standards in your body first, right? I realized this. I was like, because your body is one thing you cannot fake. You can't buy it. You can't borrow it. You can't inherit it, right? At least fully. You either build it or you don't. And a strong aesthetic body It's not just about looking good either, right? It's proof, visual proof. Okay? When you work on something so hard, it's proof. Proof of discipline. That's clear. Proof of self-control. That's also clear. It's proof of consistency. That's clear. You know, it tells the world you do hard things, right? That you're capable of sacrifice, delayed gratification, that you can focus long term and stick to the goal. Ignore everything until you get to the goal. And you know, when you build body standards in your body, when you walk into a room and you physically built with real confidence from putting in the hard work, the other people feel it. They feel the difference. They feel the danger. It's literally respect in a nutshell. It's presence. It's physical evidence that you're not mediocre, right? Physical evidence that you're not mediocre. You don't have to say a word. That's why this matters. Because building your body forces structure. It removes the negotiation. In a way, it kind of creates the system that you've been missing. Right? There are hundreds of ways to be above average. But building your body is like the lowest resistance, highest return starting point. You don't need more knowledge. You don't need more theory. You need something real that you can grasp, that you can be proud of and look at in the mirror every day, right? And your body is the one thing you can't lie about. That's why I talk about six-pack. It's special not because it looks good, right? It's special because most people will never do what it takes to get there. To get there, you're going to have to delay the gratification. You're going to have to follow the structure you set for yourself. Even when you're tired, ignore the feelings. They go out the window. You have to finish something hard long after the excitement of setting out to do that wears off. It's not something you can drift your way into either. You don't just wake up with a six-pack, right? You can't keep your old habits and magically wake up lean. It's never going to work that way. So it's like a six-pack is a symbol. Okay. You know, it says that you can commit, that you can follow through, that you can hold yourself to a higher standard, even when nobody's watching, right? Because you care. Above average people, they're not more talented. They just live by higher standards and they actually keep them. Saying something is different to doing something. You got to commit, right? And while you're drifting, I want you to remember something, okay? There is always more to learn. Always. There is always someone ahead of you, okay? There is always someone younger than you and hungrier than you for the exact same thing you're chasing, the exact same thing you want, okay? This is a competitive world. You don't just get to opt out. You only get to fall behind, right? That's how it works. That's reality. This is a fact. It's your decision. You're gonna have to decide. So, how do you actually stop the drifting and the herd mentality? You gotta make a decision, right? We said this. Pick a hard physical standard. I would get a six-pack. That's something that forces you to separate. Not everyone has it. Builds your respect. Yeah? So, you choose, you build the structure around it, figure out the path to the goal, right? Example, the training times, the nutrition, the non-negotiables, yeah? You remove the daily decision making. No more do I feel like it today. It's, this is what I do, period. And you keep executing, even when the motivation drops, right? Even when nobody sees. Even when it would be easier to just blend back in. I'm gonna tell you now, actually. Start with your body. Let it train your discipline. Let it build your confidence. Let it raise your standards. And you know, it doesn't take long, guys. It takes like 3 months if you stay consistent, right? Make your body become your first proof that you're done drifting. You can go and figure this out on your own. You already know the principle, right? Separate yourself from the herd through hard, consistent standards, and you'll be a winner, right? But I'm gonna make you this offer. If you don't want to guess, if you want real structure instead of trial and error, if you want a system that teaches you how to live above average through your body, that's what I've built. Okay? So, what I'm gonna do, and what I did do, is make this a way to take this philosophy and turn it into your training, nutrition, and habits that'll help you actually separate from the real world. Okay? No pressure. It's just an option. If you're interested, join my free community. Read the Foundations PDF. It'll clear your confusion with how to get jacked, how to get a six-pack, and how to look good, feel good. Everything from energy, training, nutrition. Links below. Ciao, ciao.